What's up, everybody? I have kind of been thinking a lot lately about trying to help people kind of emerge from the old paradigm, the old way of thinking about your health, not just with your eating and your exercising and that kind of thing, but your whole health, your mental health, emotional health, all of those pieces together. Sorry, it's kind of a bumpy road. All of those pieces together that form the whole that makes up your health. I've been following practitioners for a long time that even talk about how certain emotions affect certain organs in negative ways or positive ways, depending on what you're doing. But I like to think of it like a bank account. You know, like you get, I get a direct deposit every week from my employer, and I have so much to pay my bills and maybe pay down expenses or plan something fun with a friend or with my grandkids or something like that. And I'm always making withdrawals or deposits. And your health is very similar to a bank account. You have an opportunity every day to make deposits in that account, which increase the balance, or withdrawals, which take away from. And when you think about your health that way, you start to realize that so many things that we're doing on the daily basis, most people are making more withdrawals than they are deposits, right? That makes sense. Like, for instance, you know, you stay up really late one night and you eat a bunch of junk food and, you know, that kind of stuff. Those are withdrawals that you've made from your health account, so to speak. And then, you know, there's times when you eat a good healthy meal, you work out, you get to bed, you know, at a good time so that your body can rest and rejuvenate, and maybe you do a meditation or whatever. Like, you get what I'm saying. You make a deposit. You now have more in your account than you had before you did those things. If you start to look at your debits and expenditures that way as an account, are you adding to your health or are you taking away from your health? Are you, is what you're doing going to make you healthier, or can it in the long term make you sicker or sick? Can you kind of imagine that? That helps me a lot. I mean, when I look at the deficits that I make, sometimes it's like my husband has a very here and there kind of schedule, and sometimes I'll wait up for him. You know, he doesn't get home till after 10 o'clock at night, and I have to be at work at 6:30, 7 o'clock the next morning, so I don't get as much sleep or whatever. But that's a sacrifice I make to be able to spend time with him. So that's kind of like a deficit. Those times when, you know, maybe we're out and about and he decides he wants a cheeseburger and I'm like kind of hungry or whatever, and I'm like, all right, fine, and I'll get like a small French fry or something like that. That's a deficit in the account. But I make so many deposits that I can afford those small deficits. Like, you know, for the most part, my diet is probably 90%, 99% clean. You know, 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, free-range, organic as much as possible. Now, I didn't used to always eat this way, so please don't get turned off and think, oh God, you know, she's perfect. It's not like that at all. Y'all, I was really sick, so I had a lot of drive to find out what was going to make me better. And I wasn't about to live that lifestyle of being on medications and being dependent on a doctor telling me every move that I can make or not make. I got educated. I decided I'm taking this bull by the horns and we're going to figure this out, because I'm not living that lifestyle. And then watching, you know, my parents with their different ailments, my father who has a back injury, who has a hard time moving about sometimes, or my mom who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. It's not a pretty disease, and I don't want my children to have to deal with some of the stuff that I'm having to deal with. I don't want to take out of my grandkids' lives. I want to give to them. I want to be that elder in their life that they can look to for wisdom and guidance, and to live their best, healthiest life. And they can come to me and say, hey, what should I do about this, or what about that? And through life's wisdom and through being there and being able to push through some of these things, I'll be able to help them, instead of saying, well, I'm sorry, kid, we all kind of just sit in front of the TV and absorb everything and get sick, and at some point we just die. Like, that's not life to me. That's not living. That's just accepting the illness that's around us. I refuse. I watched my son go through chemotherapy, and now he's a healthy, vibrant father, which we didn't even know he could have a baby, so that's super exciting. Zoe's such a blessing. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if you start to approach your health from this mental standpoint of a deposit and a deficit bank account, you can start to kind of, maybe in the moment, every moment, because the moments is what makes the difference. In that moment when you're like tempted to maybe make a withdrawal or whatever from your account, do you have enough in your account to make that withdrawal? I mean, think about it. Are you running on, almost no sleep, and, you've had 3 drinking binge weekends in a row, and, you're stressed out at work, and you haven't been eating good, and just kind of think about all this stuff and say, you know what, I think this weekend, I need to lay low, you guys. I'm not going out. I think I'm just going to get some good deep sleep. I'm going to maybe prep some good food for this next week, like salads and soups or whatever. Put myself together some smoothie packs in the freezer, and just be ready to live my best, healthiest life this next week, instead of just continuing to dip into those health reserves. And eventually, guys, if you don't really start paying attention to this kind of stuff and really thinking about it, at some point you're going to find yourself bankrupt. And then you're going to have to kind of face yourself and ask yourself a question like, who's to blame here? Am I at fault? And you have to admit at some point, yes, you are. And it sounds really harsh for me to say that. And I get it if some of you are like, oh, wow, okay, she's kind of bold. Well, I'm telling you the same thing like I would tell one of my kids. My daughter and I have had these conversations. You can't continue to never make any investment in your health, to always be making withdrawals, and then when you feel like crap, go, oh, what's wrong? Why do I feel bad? Think about it. Why do you feel bad? You're up scrolling Facebook all night. The kids are running around like crazy in the morning, and you're tired and you're worn out, and you're trying to just deal in the moment, and you're about ready to pull your hair out because they're screaming and they're hungry for breakfast, and you're trying to deal with this and that and the boss. And come on, guys, who's to blame? You got to start taking some proactive management over your health and realize that nobody force feeds you anything. Nobody forces you to sit and scroll through social media, or to just kind of sit numbly in front of Netflix and not deal. Nobody forces you to do those things. Those are things that you do or allow yourself to do, when you could be using that time to really understand what's going on and take better care of yourself. This comes from a place of love. This comes from I've been there, I've done that, and I'm trying to help you see that if you can take this different approach, you might realize that you can feel so much better than you ever imagined. I mean, I think back to when I was so overweight and sick and tired, and I just didn't feel good. And my gosh, you guys, the way I feel now, I wish I had this kind of energy when I was raising my kids. I mean, chasing my grandkids around at the park. I feel good. I feel happy. I remember, oh my gosh, how the heck did I do 4 kids? But when you're a young mother, you do what you have to do. You're kind of in that mode where now I wish I had the energy I have now then, because the way I eat now, and I'm very proactive about it. But anyway, just wanted to put a bug in your ear. Think about some little words of wisdom to think about and maybe start to employ in your life. Even if you just start keeping a quick journal on the daily, like if you're so overwhelmed, sometimes you might need something like that, so that at the end of the week you can kind of like, just as an experiment, go back, just go through the week, kind of jot down, maybe at the end of the night before you go to bed, hey, what kind of a breakfast, lunch, dinner did I have? Were they healthy at all? Were they mid-range? Maybe some healthy, some unhealthy. Write kind of down. You don't have to write every little detail of what you ate down, but just kind of the general overhaul. Like, I had a taco salad for lunch. Yay, I had greens. Or, maybe I had, I had pizza and ice cream for dinner. So, okay, not so good there, but, maybe the next day I had a bagel and a, maple bar. That used to be my favorite breakfast, by the way, which I should tell you something about why I was so overweight. Daily, the jalapeno cheese bagel and a maple bar with cream filling. Go figure. But anyway, if you jot down what kind of meals you had throughout the week, if you jot down, if you got enough sleep, if you, were super stressed out at your work or with your kids or whatever, if you were able to get any meditation or breathing technique time in or anything like that, write it down as a deficit and a deposit. Like, what was it? Good night's sleep, deposit. I took the stairs at work instead of the elevator, deposit. Did I, blah, blah, blah. And look back and see how many deposits and how many deficits you have. And that'll at least point you in the right direction. Much love, y'all. Bye.